On a sweltering summer night in July 64 AD, the eternal city, Caput Mundi, the head of the world, the crown jewel of an empire stretching from Britannia's misted cliffs to the burning sands of Egypt, lay under a pale moon, restless in the oppressive heat. Its 7 hills were alive with contrasting worlds, the patrician villas of the Palatine, their courtyards cooled by the constant murmur of fountains, overlooked the labyrinthine alleys and crowded wooden insulae of the Subura, where whole families slept stacked in rickety rooms, often 4 or 5 stories high. Cooking fires still smoldering dangerously close to dry timber, and amphorae of oil stored beneath every precarious staircase like dormant hazards. The very air of the streets carried the mixed scents of baked bread from late-night ovens, tangy fish from the markets, and the sharp pitch of shipyards near the Tiber. In the deep shadows of the Circus Maximus, the world's largest chariot racing stadium, sat vast warehouses packed with hay for horses, grain for the city, amphorae of wine and oil. All the fuel a fire could ever ask for, stacked high and dry. And sometime after midnight, though no one could later agree whether by chance, neglect, or malicious design, a spark ignited, perhaps from a dropped lamp, perhaps from hands with darker purpose, and within moments the tinderbox quarter erupted, its packed wooden structures and accumulated flammables exploding into a fiery torrent. The dry, hot air, already stifling, supercharged the conflagration, ensuring an instantaneous, horrifying inferno that seemed to devour the very air, catching the sleeping city entirely by surprise. Fade in, the sound of a single crackle, sharp and brittle, multiplying until it becomes a living roar, the camera rising above the city to reveal a bloom of orange spreading like spilled ink. In the lower corner of the screen, a real-time countdown clock appears. Hour 1, marking the start of 6 days that would scar an empire. Embers lift into the night like fiery snow, wind carrying them across alleys and streets, igniting laundry lines into streaming ribbons of flame. The view sweeps toward the Palatine Hill, where Emperor Nero in his late 20s paces a marble balcony, his silhouette framed by the orange haze, columns around him glowing faintly in the reflection. Is this the gaze of a man mesmerized by destruction, lost in a macabre poetic trance as his city burns, or the taut posture of a ruler weighing impossible, soul-crushing choices in the face of an unforeseen cataclysm? The narration asks, highlighting the enduring historical enigma. As the frame splits, on the left, captioned, "Nero fiddled?" the emperor is seen, impossibly anachronistically, cradling a violin, a potent visual lie, cementing the chilling rumor of his detachment. While on the right, Nero-led relief efforts shows him in furious, decisive motion, abandoning imperial finery to dispatch riders on sweating horses into the dark, presumably bearing urgent orders for his fire brigades and urban prefects, his posture conveying desperate resolve to mitigate the disaster. Into this split screen, voices from the ancient record unfurl, Tacitus's clamor ubique, Luctus, fuga, shouting everywhere, grief, flight, spirals across the frame in curling Latin script, Suetonius's no age, no rank was spared, burning faintly in gold. Hour 2, overhead shots reveal the first waves of refugees spilling into wider streets, some hauling bedding or tools, others empty-handed, their faces lit in shifting orange. A legionary on leave pushes through the crowd carrying his elderly father, while a baker, barefoot and wild-eyed, stumbles past clutching the last loaf from his shop. Street-level chaos, roof tiles pop and explode from the heat, sending razor-edged shards into the mob. Smoke turns the air to tar, reducing vision to ghostly outlines lit by fire. The heat radiating from the inferno was unbearable. Goats dart between human legs, dogs bark and bolt, horses rear and scream, their handlers straining to hold them, their terror palpable. Hour 3, 7 of Rome's 14 districts are now burning, 6 more threatened, only 1 untouched. Some climb to rooftops to douse sparks with jars of water, others form bucket chains from public fountains. But the wind mocks them, carrying flames across entire streets in seconds, turning blocks into instant infernos. The initial shock gives way to a gnawing, widespread terror As the city realizes the scale of the unfolding catastrophe, whispers begin to spread. Where is the emperor? Some say he is far away in Antium, singing verses of Troy's destruction. Others that he rides among the flames, ordering that the field of Mars, Agrippa's public buildings, and even his own gardens be thrown open to shelter the homeless. That grain be shipped in from Ostia, that prices be fixed to stop profiteers. Hour 6, the wind shifts, driving the fire back into streets thought saved, catching on piles of salvaged Chonyashij jam. Azrania turning refuge into death trap for those who had believed themselves safe. A temple to Jupiter collapses in a sheet of sparks, its grand statues crashing through smoke like falling gods, their marble forms shattering into dust, a symbolic death knell for the city's divine protection. On the banks of the Tiber, crowds watch the far shore burn, clutching whatever they carried. One woman cradles a clay doll blackened by soot. A craftsman holds the charred frame of his loom. Hour 12, the map of the city glows red and black from above, a jagged scar cutting through its heart. The Forum lies shrouded in smoke, basilicas reduced to roofless shells. After 3 days, the flames seem to weaken, but flare again, feeding suspicion that they were reignited on purpose, a chilling act of arson to clear prime land. By the end of 6 days, 3 districts lie utterly destroyed, 7 more heavily damaged. The camera slows, the roar fading into the faint rustle of parchment as a massive scroll unfurls. Nero's urban reconstruction plan. Streets widen to act as fire breaks, colonnades to shield walkers from sun and rain, new building codes mandating fireproof stone, water cisterns at regular intervals. The narration notes that these reforms would, in time, make Rome safer and grander. Yet another parchment overlay slides in, and the tone shifts, revealing a stark, unsettling contrast. Here is the Domus Aurea, the Golden House, a sprawling, almost impossibly vast palace complex that Nero would begin constructing atop the cleared, scorched earth of Rome's devastated core. Its designs were audacious, bordering on megalomaniacal. Acres of gardens, vast artificial lakes where previously crowded tenements had stood, banquet halls glittering with gold leaf, ceilings that ingeniously revolved and rained petals on guests, walls painted with the myths of gods. To the thousands still camped among the ruins, their lives shattered, their possessions lost, their very existence precarious. This monumental display of imperial extravagance was not salvation, but a profound, sickening insult. It was to them undeniable proof, at least to the rampant rumor that swept through the desolate city, that the fire had been conveniently orchestrated, a deliberate act to clear prime land for this very palace, to manifest Nero's grandiose vision of himself as a god emperor. Suspicion hardens in the Senate, whispers grow among patricians, the streets carry a single charge. Nero burned Rome for his palace. Seeking to break the rumor, the emperor names an enemy, the Christians, a small sect mistrusted for rejecting Rome's gods, and blames them for the fire. The camera darkens to reveal horrific, torchlit scenes of persecution. Men and women in chains marched into amphitheaters, others tied to stakes and set alight as living torches to illuminate imperial gardens, some thrown to wild beasts before roaring crowds, torn apart in a desperate fight for survival. This is more than punishment. It is theater, political weaponry, a calculated act of terror designed to deflect blame and reassert absolute power. But even such brutality cannot erase suspicion. Historians centuries later will still argue. Was Nero a visionary who rebuilt Rome from its ashes, or a vain ruler who lit the fire himself? And now the film enters its final sequence, Dawn over Rome. The camera glides above skeletal walls, blackened marble, survivors picking through rubble for anything salvageable. Smoke curls lazily from collapsed temples. The sun catches on the white marble of those still standing, making them gleam like pale bones in the ash. The narration closes on its challenge. Was this disaster the spark that reshaped an empire, or the birth of a legend forged in lies? And as the aerial shot pulls away toward the Mediterranean horizon, the wind carries the last voiceover. If you believe history's greatest moments deserve to be seen, questioned, and remembered, like this video, Share it, and subscribe for more stories where myth and fact meet in the firelight of the past.